Why was the SNCC so important? Imagine a group of young people standing up against a system that kept them apart and kept them from voting. That's what the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee did during the Civil Rights era. Formed in April 1960 at Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina, SNCC brought young black college students to the front lines of fighting segregation and injustice. They didn't wait for older leaders to tell them what to do. Instead, they took action on their own. SNCC changed who led the civil rights movement. For the first time, teenagers and young adults became the main organizers and leaders. They launched sit-ins at segregated lunch counters across the South in 1960. These sit-ins challenged the idea that black people couldn't sit where they wanted. Their actions inspired others and made the fight for civil rights more inclusive. They weren't just following orders from older groups. They created their own path through direct action and grassroots organizing. What set SNCC apart was how they worked directly with local black communities. Instead of waiting for big organizations to lead, they built their own efforts from the ground up. Ella Baker, a key advisor, told SNCC to stay independent from larger groups like the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. This independence gave young activists the freedom to decide their own strategies. SNCC's work led to real change. They organized the sit-ins that challenged segregation at lunch counters and the freedom rides that tested whether buses could be integrated. Despite facing violence from the Ku Klux Klan and police, these young people refused to give up. Their courage helped wake up the nation to the injustice of segregation. They also focused on voting rights. Starting in 1960, SNCC launched campaigns to register black voters in the South. They worked in places like Mississippi and Alabama, where voting was blocked by unfair laws and intimidation. The 1960 for Freedom Summer brought hundreds of volunteers to Mississippi to help black people register to vote. Even with threats, arrests, and violence, SNCC pushed forward. Their efforts helped lead to the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which protected voting rights for black Americans. SNCC didn't just fight for voting rights. They created schools to teach black history and leadership, organized labor efforts, and built cultural spaces like the Free Southern Theater. These projects helped black communities grow stronger and more independent. Leaders like Fannie Lou Hamer and Bob Moses showed that young black people could challenge injustice and create change. SNCC also broke down mental barriers. They proved that young people, even teenagers, could stand up to violence and intimidation without backing down. Their activism showed that ordinary black Americans had the power and moral strength to transform the country. They created a movement culture filled with music, poetry, and art that celebrated black identity and freedom. In the mid-1960s, SNCC shifted toward black power, emphasizing self-determination and pride. Even after the organization officially ended in 1973, its influence remained. Its members went on to shape politics, education, and culture. SNCC's work proved that grassroots efforts and young voices could challenge and change a deeply divided nation.